Okay, so this is lesson 1.2. So this is on health, finances, and ratios. So overweight and obesity are defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that may impair health. Being overweight or obese substantially increases your risk of developing cardiovascular disease, including coronary artery disease, which is bad, heart attack, and stroke. For this reason, doctors assess a person's weight to determine their cardiovascular risk. However, researchers don't always agree with which method is best for determining whether an individual is too overweight. The three most common used measures are BMI, which is body mass index, which is also waist to hip ratio and waist to height ratio. So body mass index is simply weight per height index, commonly used to classify overweight and obesity in adults. It is defined as a person's weight in kilograms divided by the square of his or her height in meters. BMI provides the most useful population level measure of overweight and obesity, as it is the same for both sexes and ages of all adults. However, it's not a rough guide because it may not correspond to the same degree of fatness in different individuals. So, calculating body mass index. So it's weight over height. But you have to have it in kilograms and then meters squared. So here's your BMI. So I'd like for you to take a moment, just kind of figure out where you're at. This is not like a body shaming thing. This is just a, hey, what would you be? Okay. You don't have to post that anywhere, just for you to know. Okay. And this is how they classify. However, the thing is, it does not account for whether or not you have more fat or less fat on you. So everybody says like muscle weighs more. It is more dense. So that's something to also keep in mind when you're calculating. Okay, so you're a personal trainer using the following information to calculate the BMI of each person. State which category they're in and state what advice you would give to them. Okay, so we've got a 15-year-old, they weigh 117 pounds, and they're 68.1 inches. Okay, so we know that from our previous page that your formula is weight over height. Weight, I'm gonna write that down. Weight over height. Okay. And so with that being said, they gave us information up here at the top. 1 meter is equivalent to 0.37 and 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds. So the first thing we're going to do is got to convert into meters and kilograms. So if they weigh 117 pounds, then what you're going to do is you're going to take 117, we're going to divide it by 2.2, and that's going to give us the number of kilograms that this person is going to have. So if we take 117 and divide it by 2.2, you're going to get 50, I'm going to write this over here, 53.1, let's round, okay? For the height, we're going to take 68.1 and we're going to divide it by 39.37. So 68.1 divided by 39.37, and that's going to give us 1.73. Okay, so now that we have those two conversions, then we're going to plug it into our body mass index. We're going to take 53 and divide it by 53.18 and divide it by 1.73, and that's going to give us 17.77. Now, looking at the chart, previous page, 17.77 is underweight. So we would classify this guy as underweight. And he would probably want to increase his calories. That would be my recommendation, because if you're underweight, it's not necessarily healthy either. Okay. I would take a moment, go ahead and pause and try to fill in the table. Okay. So again, we're going to have to convert these. When we convert these, this is going to give me 102.27, and then this is going to give me 1.55. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This is squared. Looking at our formula again from the previous page, that part. Apologies. Looking at our formula again, it does say squared. So with that being said, When you type this into your calculator, that's why it's 17.77. So I'm gonna slow down and actually do this right. All right, so I'm gonna plug this in for our body mass index. And this is gonna give me 102.27 divided by 1.55. We're gonna square that. And when we plug that in, we're gonna get 42.57. So looking at our little chart, that's above 40 and above. And so the category that this person would be in would be class 3 obesity. And I would reduce calories and increase exercise. On number 2, it says experts agree you should not lose more than 2% of your weight per week. But when these people are losing like 15 pounds per week, that's not necessarily healthy. We're going to calculate the percent weight change needed for each recommendation. Okay, so for person A, and looking at percent change, that was from the previous lesson. And so we're going to take our try it again. Our new minus our old divided by our old. We had 18.55, which if we look at our table, that's what a normal weight would be, okay? And that's what we want our person to be, normal weight, because we want them to be tender. And we're going to subtract what they currently are and divide it by what they currently are. And multiply by 100. And so that's going to give us 4.39. Okay, so 4.39% change is needed. Okay, then take a moment and try person B to find the percent change. Find the percent change. Okay. For percent change on this one, we're going to have 18.55, which again is a normal weight. We're going to subtract the 4.257, which is what they are currently or previously. We're going to multiply it by 100, and that's going to give us negative 56.42%. And what this means is that they need to lose 56.42% of body weight. So the next way we can calculate basically your body mass index, or how well you're doing, is waist to height ratio. So calculating waist to height ratio offers a more accurate picture of a person's risk of obesity than body mass index. According to a new study from the United Kingdom, according to the National Institute for Health and Care, people should have a waist measure that is less than 1/2 of their height. It's going to be less than 1/2 their height. Using a waist to height ratio together with BMI can help people determine if they have excess fat around their midsection, which is known as the increased risk of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. For one of your clients, you choose to use a weight height ratio to make a recommendation. Okay, so your client, Fred, has a 36-inch waist and is 6'2". Calculate Fred's waist to height ratio. So first of all, we know that Fred is 6 foot, which means that in inches, he's going to be 6 times 12 inches, which is going to be 72 inches. Now, if he's 6'2", that means that he's 74 inches in height. Okay. Now, the waist to height ratio is going to be 36 divided by 74. So waist divided by the height in inches. So that's going to be 0.49, which is less than half. So technically, he's healthy, but he's getting closer and closer to overweight. So he is healthy according to this recommendation. Now, for the next one, Fred weighs 210 pounds. What is it? BMI. Remember from the previous page, BMI is our weight. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. Weight divided by our height squared. But first we got to calculate the conversions. So for our weight, we're taking 210 and dividing it by 2.2. And that's going to give us 95.45 kilograms. For the height, we're going to take 74 and divide it by 39.37. And that's going to give us 1.88 meters. Okay. Now, when we plug that stuff in, we're going to get 95.45 divided by 1.88. And that's going to give us 27. Looking at our chart from like the very first page, if he's 27, then he's technically classified as overweight. So how do you decide whether or not Fred is healthy or if he's overweight? Looking at this last question, what can these ratios tell you? What about the categories? Do you think that Fred is overweight or healthy? And what would cause his waist to height ratio to be normal, but weight to be high? So think of this through. Since the weight to height ratio is more accurate, Fred would be regarded as healthy. And again, that goes back to what we talked about with the fact that muscle weighs more. So muscle makes it more dense. It's going to make it a little bit more wider, etc. Okay. So 210 for a 6'2" guy probably isn't that bad, as long as his weight is in the right measurement. Okay. On the last part, unit prices. The grocery stores usually give the price information for the product. The unit price is the price for one item or units of item. So what kind of product can be prices per unit? So you can measure in pounds, gallons, liters, yards, and then you could count the paper plates, the number of rolls of paper towels, piece of candy, X. So if we have the amount is 0.1369, can also be written as 13.7 cents or 13.7 cents. Okay, similar to the decimals percents, this is what's written on the labels at the store, and this is what they may apply the nearest tenth of a cent when it asks you to round. So to find the unit price, you're going to take the total cost and divide it by the total number of units. For instance, tuna costs $1.25 for a 6.5 ounce can. So what is the price per ounce to the nearest tenth of a cent? So we're going to take 1.25 and we're going to divide it by 6.05. I'm sorry, 6.5. I don't know where it came from. And that's going to give us 19.2 cents. So this is like when you go to Walmart and you look at the little tag and it's like unit price. That's what these are. This is how they calculate it. The higher the unit price, the more expensive the product is actually going to be, based off of the number of ounces or whatever it's measured at. Finding the better buy. This is important. This is making yourself a better consumer. So comparing the unit price of the same product in different sizes will determine which item is better to buy. So is it better to buy 12 things, or is it better to buy 4 things and the different cost? Delman's raisins are sold in 2 sizes, 12 ounce and 24 ounce. Based off of the price alone, which one's better to buy? So we've got 1.29 divided by 12, and that's going to give me 0.1075. Okay, which is 10.8 cents per ounce. Okay, On the other hand, you've got 24 ounce thing, and we're dividing 1.99 by those 24 ounces, and that's going to give me 0.0829. So again, that's going to be 8.29 per ounce. If the unit price is lower, then it is a better buy. The larger size is better to buy. What else do you have to consider before you buy? Cheaper is not always a better buy. If you'll be able to use the product before it spoils, if possible, if you place to store the larger container, quality of the product, convenience of the location, quantity, availability. So even if it's a cheaper option, but you're definitely not going to use all the chicken that you just bought, then it's a waste. It's not a better buy. Sometimes it's better to buy in the smaller one or the more expensive one. Okay, so for instance, on this one, which one would have been the better buy? It would have been the 24 ounce. Okay, sometimes they're a lot cheaper in bulk. Most of the time, actually. Oh, does it make sense to purchase a gallon of salad dressing for a family of 3? Why or why not? The answer is probably not, and it's going to spoil before the expiration date. Now, salad dressing keeps for a really long time, so probably not, but it could, unless you're eating salads every single day. Okay. Liquid detergent sells for $1.78 for 32 ounce, $1.29 for 22, and $2.89 for 48 ounce. Which one's a better buy? Take a minute, pause, and try this one on your own. Okay, so you should have gotten 1.78 divided by 32, 1.29 divided by 22, and 2.89 divided by 48. When you do this, you're going to get 0.0556, 0.0586, and 0.0606. So the best buy will be this one. And we can already see that that's cheaper than probably all the rest of us. Okay. So that completes 1.2.